Today, we're going to have a lot of fun. So if you're new here, maybe you've been here for a couple of weeks, maybe this is your first time, I just want to say we do get into the Word, we do talk about the Word, we do read the Word. I only have a handful of scriptures today because I really want to get into the practical things about our relationships. Our relationships sometimes they're tough. Sometimes relationships isn't so easy. So neither is talking sometimes. But relationships can be tough. They can be difficult. And man, I tell you, it's a scary number. If you look at the divorce rate in America, it's pretty scary. To that point, let me just say, Amy and I celebrated 22 years Friday, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah. We're on this budget. I don't know what Dave Ramsey calls it, but I call it the 2 wedding and 3 month budget. Because we have 2 weddings within 90 days of each other, and so I don't know if our kids just hate us. I'm not really sure what's going on there. No, I'm picking. Where are they at? But anyway, we're on this budget. So anyway, we were talking. We're like, well, we really want to go do something, but we really don't want to spend the money because we got stuff to buy for 2 weddings. Did I mention we have 2 weddings in 90 days? So we have this we're a little bit trying to save every penny and pinch every penny. So our girls, I guess, heard us talking about it. And the other day, the girls were like, "Hey, we're going to the store to get some. We're going to the Moss Bluff Buc-ee's, and we're gonna get some ices because they're 79 cents. If you don't know, they're about this big and they're 79 cents. So I was like, "Yeah." I texted Emily. I was like, "Yeah, get me an icy." And so anyway, they come back and they didn't even go to the store. What they did was they went online and got us a hotel in Lafayette. And they came up here to print the receipt to bring it to us as a gift for our anniversary. So that was so amazing of them. I'm a little bit hurt that I didn't get my icy, though. I mean, they could have at least still stopped by the store. But no, we had a great time, went to Lafayette, spent the day, and we didn't talk about y'all one time. Well, maybe once. One time we talked about y'all. Because you guys are our life, and we love you guys, and we talk about the next event, what's going on. Speaking of which, we have an event coming up that a little something we like to call a Dream Team Party. Come on, somebody, y'all excited about that? So if you're not clapping, you haven't been yet, and that means you either didn't go or you're not on a team. You need to get on a team because our Dream Team parties they're off the chain. They're off the hizzle for shizzle. You know what I'm saying? Like these Dream Team parties, they do them up right. We're going to feed you well. We're going to have a little bit of entertainment. It's going to be a lot of fun. I ain't giving you no more details than that. We'll tell you where later, but let me tell you when. It's March the 28th from 5 to 8. So mark your calendars if you're on a Dream Team. Mark your calendars. If you're not on a Dream Team, you still have some time to get on one. All right, you can still jump in and get on a Dream Team. So I want you to pray about that. Think about that. We have some needs right now. Our kids' church ministry right now, we have some needs for workers in there. Obviously, we want you to feel led to do that. We'll put you through a background check. But our goal for our kids' church ministry, which is kindergarten through 5th grade, is to have a group of kindergarten and 1st graders, 2nd and 3rd graders, and 4th and 5th graders. And we're about to get to a point where we're going to have to make that into 2 groups instead of 3. So we don't want to do that. We want to spend more time with your kids to teach them about Jesus, but we do need your help. So if you'll pray about that. We normally don't ask for that, but I just want to tell you we have some people that are serving almost every week, so we need your help in there, in pre-K and nursery as well. So if you just pray about that. I normally don't talk about that, but I did want to tell you about that because it's a need that we have, and we want to just love on your kids as much as we can. So back to the relationship stuff. I want to tell you today that your relationships matter, and your relationships are so important. It's probably the primary thing that the devil wants you to get sideways with, because God knows, and so does the devil, that you can be no closer to God than you are any other person living or dead. I'm going to say that again because that's pretty deep. You can be no closer to God than you are any other person living or dead. And so it's important, is what I'm trying to tell you. Your relationships with other people are very, very important, especially with your spouse. And so this relationship series is going to be mostly about marriage, but it's also going to be about just relationships with other people. And I just want to give you a charge or a challenge this morning, or maybe some hope today. Let me just tell you this: you have a 100% chance of having a successful marriage. And let me just reword that and say you have a 100% chance of having successful relationships everywhere. You can do this. You can do this. Now, the problem that comes in is that we're different, right? Men and women, we're just different. So today I want to lay the foundation for this series because I want you to know that men and women are different. The world will tell you different today that that's not true, but we are different. Now, we're equal, but we're different. God created us different. We think differently. We act differently. We're built differently. God made us differently, men and women. I know that's not very popular today in the culture that we're living in today, but I want to tell you that we are very different. Let me just say it like this, and this can be a problem because men and women are different, and differences can create difficulties. Differences can create difficulties. If you work with a person that's different than you, y'all clash. Maybe you're a laid-back person, they're super outgoing. Maybe you're not very driven, they're super driven, and they get on your last nerve. Or maybe it's vice versa. You're really driven and they're not. And you think they're lazy, but it's just because they're different. But it's especially true in our marriages because I want you to see that God made us completely different. The Bible tells us in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, God created human beings in his own image, in the image of God. So God created these human beings, which is us, in his own image. He created them male and female. He created them. God created, he didn't say he just created some people. He said he created them male and female. Now, there's a reason for this is because he created us to be different. We have different roles in our marriage. We have different roles in our relationships. Men typically are stronger than women. Now, there's probably some women here stronger than me, but typically speaking, men are stronger than women. Men typically are the protectors. That's why, because God created us to be protectors. Women are more loving. They're usually the ones that cuddle and they want to love on the kids, and the dad's supposed to come in and do the spanking, and the mom comes in and loves on them. Sometimes that gets revolt. You know what I'm talking about. We had that in our house. My dad, man, he made you go pick your own switches. Anybody ever been there? You had to go pick your own switches, and you better get a good one because if you don't, he's going to pick it. And the more limber that thing is, the more deadly that thing is because it will wrap all the way around your leg, come over here, and get you on the front. It's pretty serious. And so anyway, that's the way it was. So my mom, if my dad was gone because he was a pastor, and so he would have to travel and go check on people I almost said the hotel, in the hospital, and I don't think he checked on people in hotels. I think he checked on people in the hospital. But he would travel, and he would be gone quite a bit. And anyway, so we'd be home with Mom, and we just knew we could get away with whatever. And so anyway, she would take one of us in the bathroom with a belt and make us think that she was going to spank us, but we knew better. So she would take the belt, and she would hit it on the counter and then make us holler every time like we were getting spanked to put some fear in the other kids. But since she did it to all of us, we all knew what she was doing. But her biggest threat, this is what she would say, I'm going to tell your dad when he gets home. Oh, Lord, don't do that. Now, when she said that, we got straight real quick. But that's the way it is. God created more for the women to be the loving, and that's not always the case, but it's usually the way it is. The men are stronger, supposed to be the protectors. About 2 weeks ago, I was laying in bed. I normally go to bed pretty late, and I was laying in bed. I went to bed about 9:15 that night. I was tired, long week, busy week, and went to bed early, and my kids know that I'm usually up till after 11 o'clock. So I get a phone call about 10:30. I'm laying in bed. I'm out of it. It's Megan on the other line. She's not home yet. I thought she was home. She wasn't home. She said, she called me. I'm like, hello. She was like, are you in your truck? 10:30 at night. I'm like, maybe sometimes I go to the truck when Amy and I fight. I don't really know where she got that. Well, I'm going to be sitting in the truck at 10:30 at night. But she was like, are you in your truck? And I'm like, no. She's like, are you behind your truck? I'm like, no, I'm not behind my truck. She's like, well, I'm in the driveway right now, just getting home, and there's somebody by your truck. And the garage was closed, doors were locked, we were all inside. And so I got up, I got dressed. I don't remember all of this, but at some point I grabbed my gun. Listen, I didn't roll over and go, hey, Amy, can you go check on that? Some of y'all do that. Some of you guys do that. You're like, hey, let me know if there's something I need to come see. But listen, I know it's my job to protect my family. And listen, Megan didn't call Amy, she called me. Partly because she knows I know where the gun's at. I'm going to get the gun, I'm going to go outside. But apparently it took too long because she already ran inside. But we don't know who it was or what they were doing. But anyway, that's my job, is to protect my house and protect my family. God created that. He put that in me. And so we're made to be a little bit different. God created us to be different. We got to understand that today. God created us to be different. He made them male. He created them male and female. Now, I love the story of Adam and Eve, because it's the very first human beings that were created. I love this story. The Bible says this. The Lord said, he says, then the Lord said, we're going to get back to what he said then, why he said then, but look at this. It's not good for man to be alone. Come on, guys. Y'all know what it's like to not have your wife around. Well, sometimes it's good, all right? Sometimes if they go shopping with the kids, that's amazing, but you do want them to come back home. It's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him. So the word for helper is pretty interesting. Here's what it means. It means to be assistant and support in times of hardship and distress. So God said, I don't want the man to be alone. I need a helper for him because he might get in some trouble. He's going to need some help. Now, this was verse 18. I'm going to go back to verse 15. I want you to see in the context of when God said this. Look at this. Look at verse 15. The Lord had placed the man in the Garden of Eden to tend it and watch over it. So he said, man, here's what I want you to do. You have a job. Watch the garden, protect it, watch over it. Watch this. But the Lord said, but the Lord God warned him, you may freely eat from any of the fruit of the tree in the garden, except, and some of y'all learn about this in freedom, except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from this fruit, you will surely die. Now that's verse 17. So I want you to get this. God created man, and he gave him some rules to keep. All right? He gave him some rules to keep. And the very next verse of Scripture, he says, it's not good for man to be alone. So in other words, ladies, it's your job to keep us out of trouble. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He put him in a garden. He said, don't eat from the tree. Then he goes, you know what? I better put somebody else in here just to make sure this just don't happen. It's very, very important that we see this, that God created us to work together. He created man, gave him some rules, and then said, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. I'm going to tell you why he did this, because we don't always focus on what you guys are saying, ladies. I know you don't believe that, but we don't always hear it, and we don't always hear it because we're made differently. Our minds are differently. They're differently made. And so I'm going to get into that this morning just for a few minutes. I want you to see this morning. Your brains are different than our brains. All right? Y'all have them. Okay, that's the difference. No, I'm picking. We tend to be single focused, and here's why. Because, and I want to use some visual aid this morning. I want you to see this. Because women are like spaghetti and men are like waffles. All right, hence this morning. So I'm going to tell you how this works. Women's brains, I told you we're going to have some fun this morning. Your brains are just different than our brains. It's like spaghetti, all right? Everything touches everything. Everything touches everything. Here's what I mean. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, let me just give you an example. If I were to say to my wife, is there enough lunch meat in the refrigerator for the kids to have lunch at school? She may say after 2 seconds, what time are they coming? Now, what just happened? She just had 4 conversations without me. That's what happened. Apparently y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Let me tell you what went through her head. Do we have lunch meat for kids for school? What she heard was, I need to make a grocery list. Right? I need to find out what's going to be on that grocery list, which means I got to figure out what supper is going to be this week, which means I'm going to have to use the oven, and the oven doesn't go past 350, hence somebody's supposed to come work on it. What time are they coming? Spaghetti. I'm saving that one. It's just all, your minds are always going. I'll have a conversation. 10 minutes later, I done forgot about it. I ain't even thought about it again, and that's all she's talked about. And then we pick up right back where we left off on the last conversation. Y'all been there? You had the conversation, you thought it was over, and an hour later you're back in. But she don't start at the beginning; she starts in the middle because she already had the beginning conversation by herself. Is this making sense? Are y'all getting this? So women's brains are like spaghetti. And you just love it. You can't get enough of how much your brains just won't stop. You think you don't like it, but you really love it. Now, men are like waffles. All right, we got boxes. Christine said very small boxes. I'm offended by that. See, we have little boxes. Apparently, they're little boxes. We have one thing in that box, and that's it. If you want to talk about something, you pull that box out. You talk about that one thing, nothing else. You put it back in the same box, and you put it back into your brain. Careful not to touch any other boxes. Right? We are one trackers, guys. That's just the way God made us. So they've actually done some study and found out guys can think about nothing and still live and breathe. That's why we like to fish. Like, hunting. Like, they don't do live feed videos of guys hunting because it's super boring because you're just sitting there staring into the trees. And I know what you ladies are thinking. What are you thinking about? Nothing? You know why? Because we have a box. It's our favorite box. It's called the nothing box. And I will default go there every single time that I can. So the ladies are just, they're just going crazy. Their minds just click there all the time. I don't know how y'all even go to sleep at night. I see women, and I hope y'all don't take this wrong. I see women like cats. It's like, you ever watch the cat just try to chill? They can't chill. The ladies, you cannot chill because your brain is just it's an information superhighway. Now, a couple of other differences. One is God gave y'all, if we're going to compare it to a computer, y'all have extra RAM. We have basic memory, okay? Here's what happens. Ladies typically are more emotional. The more emotional person. What happens with a memory is when you take an event and you tie it to an emotion and you put those together, it'll burn in your brain and it'll stay in your memory. When an emotion is triggered, that event triggers that, and all of a sudden that's why women remember everything. Y'all remember everything because there was an emotion that was tied to an event, and it burned in your brain, and now you won't ever forget it. Now, we can't remember what we had for breakfast yesterday because we apparently have small boxes. But I'm telling you, ladies, when y'all say, what are you thinking about, and we say nothing, that's what we're thinking about. I know y'all are thinking, he's thinking about what he's going to do tomorrow and how he's going to just, Valentine's Day is coming, he's getting ready for Valentine's Day. We ain't thinking about jack. Because I want you to see this morning. Whenever you do, I wrote this down because I want you to see it. Because I want you to remember this. It's why women remember so much. When you tie an event to an emotion, it burns in your memory. It just locks in. It locks in. And I want you to know this. We are so different that God didn't want us to be the same. The world will tell you different today. Women and men are the same. No, they're not. We're not. Our brains aren't the same. Our bodies aren't the same. Our structure's not the same. The way we process things aren't the same. Men typically in the world are more focused on objects, and women are more focused on people. And if you just look at the number of ladies who are teachers versus men, there's a lot of men teachers, but not nearly as much as women, because women typically focus on people, and men typically focus on objects. God created us to be different. I wanted to speak on this morning because I want you to. This is going to be the foundation of what we talk about. We're different. Now, are we equal? Yes, we're equal, but we are made differently. He made them male and female, and we're made to be different. Don't miss that. We're made to be different. And as I said earlier, this is going to kind of be the heart of what we talk about. Differences can create difficulties because you don't understand. Ladies, you don't understand. We're sitting there staring off into space. We're really not thinking about anything. You don't even know how that's possible. It's very possible. We do it all the time. We do it. Do we not? We do it, guys. We are thinking about nothing. And let me tell you, nothing aggravates a woman than watching a man doing nothing. Nothing aggravates a woman more than watching a man do nothing because y'all can't do it. When we first got married, Amy, she cleaned out the same closet every other week. Like, I just want to watch TV. Please, just let me watch TV. It's just always going, always thinking about things. We see things differently. So I want to give you 4 things that we see differently today that these are kind of my points that I want to talk about, but I want you to see we see things different. Men and women, we're different. We're equal, but we're different. Here's number 1. We see events differently. We see events differently. Here's what I mean. If the plumbing is messed up, let's say you got a clog or something. Your wife is home. The plumber is supposed to come. You're at work. You get home, and you say, did the plumber come? Now, guys, we're looking for 2 things. 2 things. Did he fix it? How much did it cost? That's all I need to know. I don't need to know his last name. I don't need to know where he went to school. I just want to know, did he fix it? How much did it cost? That ain't what we get, is it? Did the plumber come? Yeah, he sat in the driveway for like 10 minutes. And first I thought it was my cousin because he's got a truck just like that, same color and everything. Did he fix it? How much did it cost? I can't ask that because she ain't done yet. He finally got out of his truck. I thought he was going to the back door. He went to the front door. And then it's like, did he fix it? How much did it cost? You know that his daughter went to school with our kids. They graduated together. I didn't even know that they did. And then he was talking about a main valve. I don't even know where the main valve. Did he fix it? How much does it cost? That's all. I'm telling you, here's the problem. We want the bottom line. Y'all start at the top. All right, and we're trying to stick with y'all. Listen, we're trying to listen. We're trying to stay in there. We just want to know, did he fix it? And how much did it cost? That's all we want to know. We see events differently. We see it's just the way we were wired. We're wired to be different. I want the bottom line. Like, is the clog fixed or not? And I'm still in a 10-minute, and this is, by the way, let me just stop and say this from the beginning. Amy and I are doing just great, okay? I was supposed to say that at the beginning. This is not a look into our world where we fight. We don't fight hardly at all. But I want you to know that we're doing great. Things are going amazing. And not all these stories even apply to us. I ain't going to tell you which ones do and which ones don't. So you can just wonder which ones are us and which ones aren't. But I want you to know that we see stuff. We want the bottom line, guys. And ladies, they want to tell you about their day. They want to tell you what happened. Like when we say, how was your day? We want to know good or bad. That's really what we're looking for. Do we get good or bad? No. We do. We got to decipher it. The problem is we can't stay. We try to go to that nothing box as fast as we can, and we can't while they're talking. While you ladies are talking, we're supposed to be focusing. We love you, and we can't. But we're bottom line people. Did you have a good day or not? And I'm not trying to be cruel or rude. I'm just telling you we're differently. And by the way, this is not for you to have a license to go out like an idiot either. Oh, the pastor said that I have a nothing box. I don't have to listen to you. That is not what I'm saying at all. And no, I don't do marriage counseling for stuff like that. See, we see events differently. Here's the second thing is we hear words differently. We hear words differently. And words are very powerful. In fact, the Bible tells us this in Proverbs 18:21. I've never connected these two, but look at verse 21. It says, the tongue can bring death or life to those who love to talk. We ain't even going there. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. And I love verse 22. David, I've never seen this before, but look at verse 22. The man who finds a wife finds a treasure. In other words, your job, ladies, is to help us keep from stepping in stuff that we can't wipe off. That's what I'm trying to tell you about our words, the words that we speak. So he says, your words have the power of death and life is in your tongue. And those who finds a good wife finds a treasure and receives favor from the Lord. Now, wives, it's so important for y'all to get this. I'm about to give y'all a few words that when you say a word, we hear something different. All right, I'm going to give you that in just a second. But it's so important, ladies, it's so important. Now, mostly in the scriptures in the Bible, you hear the Bible saying, husbands, love your wife like Christ loved the church. Love your wife. Lay your life down. Husbands, that's what you're supposed to get up, sleepwalk, grab your gun, and go outside. That's what he's trying to tell you to do. That's what God's called you. We're supposed to protect and love and honor our spouses, our wives. But also, ladies, I want you to know that God, you are a blessing to us. Look at what the Bible tells us in Proverbs 19:14. A lot of good stuff in Proverbs. Fathers can give their sons an inheritance of houses and wealth, but only the Lord can give an understanding wife. If you have an understanding wife, it's from the Lord. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, some of you young guys, you know an understanding wife is the one that lets you finish the level you're on in that game that you're playing so you can save it. An understanding wife is the one that says, you know what, it's probably healthy for you to get out of the house for a couple of days to go hunting. That's an understanding wife. God gives us an understanding wife. The Lord can give that to us, understanding, like help us see it because we see some stuff different. We see our words different. Let me give you a few words that we see different, and some of these I think are a little bit comical. Here's some of the words. Here's the first one, 5 minutes. Yeah. Ladies, when y'all say 5 minutes, you ain't talking about 60 seconds times 5, right? You're talking about the next 15 to 37 minutes. That's really what you mean. 5 minutes, when I say 5 minutes, I mean 5 minutes. That doesn't always work with the ladies. And it could be vice versa. Maybe if you're the husband that always makes your wife late, that's you. But 5 minutes means something different. Here's the next one. When you ask what's wrong, here's the next one. Nothing. Let me tell you, young guys, if you aren't married yet or if you just got married, let me tell you, nothing does never mean nothing. Nothing. Are you okay? Or what's wrong? Nothing. Either console her right there or get out of the way. All right? Because nothing never means nothing. Here's the next one. It's not even a word. It's just an action. Here's the next one I want you to see. A sigh. Guys, when ladies sigh, Katie bar the door. It is not good. Their world is falling apart. And sometimes it's just a noise. My wife scares me these days when we're driving. She'll be on her phone. I'm like, whoa, what happened? I thought somebody was trying to cut me off. Did you see so-and-so got engaged? Just noises, just not even a word. I swerved a few times like I thought something was happening, and all she did was she write a post about somebody getting engaged, or somebody got a new ring, or somebody got something special for Christmas. Listen, your noises make a difference. Sigh. By the way, guys, when we sigh, that means life is good. Man, life is good. Just chilling in my nothing box where I live and breathe. It's different. Like, well, ladies, when you sigh, am I right? Something is wrong and somebody's head is about to roll. That's usually what a sigh means. Or you got hot. Some of y'all ladies, y'all get hot, get out of the way, turn the AC on, and get out of the house, guys. I'm just telling you right now. When they sigh, and again, Amy and I are doing great. When they sigh, it means something different than when we sigh. Life is good when we sigh. Here's one for you. Do you mind if I go hunting for the next 3 days? Go ahead. Abort mission immediately. Abort. Get out of there. Go ahead does not mean go ahead. It means go ahead and stop what you're doing and stay home. That's what it means. Go ahead. Doesn't mean go ahead. Here's the last one I'm going to give you. I'm fine. Not once in my 22 years of marriage has my wife ever said I'm fine and she was actually fine. I don't remember a single time. I'm fine. I'm fine. Go ahead. You hear I'm fine, go ahead. You better get in your truck and get out of there immediately. Like, don't walk to the next room. Get out of there quick. Listen, our words, we see these things differently. We see words differently. The words that we speak mean different things. Even just size, just a noise means something different. God created us and we're different, and differences can create difficulties if we don't understand it. That's why in one of the messages I want to be sharing with you, one of the things we're going to talk about is our temperaments, because it's so important that you get the temperaments down. You understand that, and the love languages and all those things. They matter because we're all made differently. So don't miss that. So here's a verse I want to give you about words, because I want you to know that when those things get difficult and they get different and you're not sure exactly what to do, I want you to see this. The Bible says in Proverbs 15, by the way, if you want a healthy marriage, just go read the book of Proverbs. It'll tell you how to be a better husband, a better wife, a better father. He says this: a gentle answer deflects anger, but harsh words make tempers flare. When that difference happens, think about what you're about to say. Come out of your nothing box just for a second, guys, and think about what's going on. And choose the right words, all right? When your wife tells you that they're wrong, you never want to just don't hang out there. Just go ahead and get on down the road, all right? Don't hang out with when they say that, when they admit that they're wrong, which almost never happens, but when they do, don't be like, don't give them the I told you so face, all right? Be careful about what you say, because the wrong words can make tempers flare. And we're in our nothing box, and their brains are just going crazy. And if we say the wrong thing, it could actually be a problem and start a fight that might last 2, 3, 4 days, 2, 3, 4 hours. We got to be careful about that. We're differently. We see things differently. We see events differently. Here's the third thing I want to tell you: we do tasks differently. We do tasks differently. Men, we're single task people. That's why you don't put us in charge of more than one kid. Ever. Like, how the kids doing? Kids? Plural? Like sometimes one kid's too much for us. We're single focused. That's why when you talk to us and we're watching the game, we're going to catch just enough to ask you another question to find out exactly what you said, because we really don't know. I'm giving some of our secrets out. I know, but I'm trying to make y'all better husbands, okay? We do that. We're single focused. Ladies, y'all can do 15 things. You're reading a book, you're straightening up the kitchen, and you're watching TV all at the same time. And you know how I know when to change the channel? Hey, I'm watching that. You're not even in the room right now. I've seen so many ladies drink a cup of coffee, put on makeup while I'm doing 55 down the highway. Like, I got both hands on the steering wheel. I'm struggling. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how y'all do it. I mean, y'all can cook dinner, watch the kid, listen to the conversation in the other room, and wonder what that noise is coming from the backyard. My wife does that still. She's like, what's that noise? I'm like, I don't know. She heard, it's literally 3 rooms away, and she can hear it while we're talking. Guys are not built like that. We're single taskers. We have one little box. Let's talk about that one thing. Let's focus on that one task. We'll do the other stuff next. We'll put that box away and get the next task out. We'll think about that and talk about that. It's important. We do tasks differently. Here's the 4th thing I want to give you real quick. We listen differently. We listen differently. We have what I like to call, guys, we have something we call selective hearing, right? My dad, the other day, my mom said, you need to get a hearing aid. He said, I don't want no mayonnaise. He said, I don't need no hearing aid. You know why? I said, why? He said, because I've heard enough. We listen differently. So, ladies, if you were to say this phrase I'm about to show you to us, if you were to share this phrase with us, this is the ladies telling us guys, honey, go to the store, lay down some mulch, wash and wax the car, get the kids from school, put some food on to cook, and finish the rest of the dishes. You know what we heard? Here's what we heard. Honey, go lay down and get some rest. So, when we're napping when you get home from your job, it's because this is what we heard. Go lay down and get some rest. You know, I love to laugh. We laugh here a lot at WRC. But I want you to apply these. I want you to get this today. I want you to understand, guys, your wife is different. Her mind's going right now. She's thinking right now about tomorrow's lunch for the kids, tomorrow's supper. And look, she already got today planned out. She's already planning Wednesday night's life group right now. Like, how are we going to get the life group? Where we're going to do with all this stuff? What do we got to do with meals? How are we going to get to the end of the week? We got 17 appointments between now and the end of February. What are we going to do on Valentine's? I mean, it's constant. And, guys, we're in our little nothing box, and we're different. And I just want to give you another little tidbit of advice, ladies. When you ask us to do something, sometimes you have to ask twice. Because we might not have been listening the first time. Or, listen, I'm telling you right now, we will do this. There'll be a pile of clothes in the middle of the floor in the living room. Come on, guys, that's what we do. We don't see it. We'll dig our clothes out of it and go put them on, right? I'm good with that. I'll throw it in the dryer for about 6 minutes and let the wrinkles come out. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We don't see it. We're differently. Our minds are working differently. When we're walking through the living room, we're not thinking about the 18 things that are a mess in the house. We're thinking about getting to the next room, right? That's all we're thinking about. We don't see it, so don't get frustrated. Ladies, we need you to be understanding with us because we don't have it all together. I know we look like we do sometimes, we act like we do, but some of us, we're just hanging on by a thread, and we're in our nothing box, and we don't even know how to get out. It's so important that you get this. Here's what the Bible says about a good wife. In Proverbs 31, it says, who can find a virtuous and capable wife? She is more precious than rubies. Her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. I love this verse 12. I read this in a lot of weddings I do. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of his life. Now, of her life. Let me just tell you this. This goes both ways, right? If you find scriptures on husbands that saying, love your wife, lay down your life for your wife like Christ said, love them, protect them, watch over them. That's what God called us to do. But you're going to find yourself in a situation where she's like spaghetti and you're like a waffle, and you have that one little box and she's going crazy thinking about 15 things. Just be understanding. And sometimes we like to just say, oh, it's going to be okay. That ain't what they want to hear. They want to know the solution to how it's going to be okay. We got to get this. We got to get the foundation that differences can be difficult. They can bring difficulties. And I want you to know today, if you will just do 3 things before you respond, right? In a negative way. Maybe they said something that kind of sets you off. Just do these 3 things. And if you do these 3 things, not just in your marriage, but at your job, as a parent, as a life group member, as a life group coach, as a team member, as an employee, as an employer, do these 3 things before you respond to something because we're made so differently. It'll help you get down the road a little bit further and a little bit more joyfully. Pause, ponder, and pray. Pause. Remember that their brains are going crazy. Their minds are they are worried. And by the way, ladies, what you want above everything else, you want protection. You want to know that you want security. Guys, we crave respect. Ladies crave security, so they want to know that everything's going to be okay. So before you jump into, everything's going to be okay, we'll figure it out when we get there, pause, ponder, and pray. Pause, take a step, ponder. Remember, her brain's like spaghetti. It's always touching everything. It's like a buzz. It's like a super internet highway. It's like a buzz always going off. And then pray and say, God, help me to respond correctly here because I want to have a healthy and long life with my spouse. I want to challenge you, and you can use this. This is true in every case. If you're dating, if you're engaged, if you're married, if you're married for 5 years or 10 years, this is still true. And God wants to use your marriages. He wants to build a foundation on your marriage. Because I'm telling you right now, the first place the devil attacks, and we're seeing it in our world today, is the home. It is the first group of people that will make a difference when revival breaks out. In fact, revival will start in the home before it starts anywhere else. And the devil wants to tear apart your relationships. And it's so sad to me today that the world does not come to the church to get solutions for their broken marriages. You know why? Because a lot of ours look like theirs. I want to challenge you. Let's get a hold of this idea, this thought that we're made different. Let's pause, ponder, and pray before we respond. And let's be different. Can you imagine a church full of healthy relationships? Can you imagine a church? Can you imagine a community full of mom and dads that stick it out, that get through the thick and the thin, that be the example to their kids that they're supposed to be? Maybe you're on your second or third or fourth marriage. You can do it. You have a 100% chance of having a successful marriage. You can do this. But you got to know that you're different. Understand. Pause, ponder, and pray before you respond, and God will work in your marriage.